Today we're going to have a look at flying the Percival Proctor Mark I Vega Gull. A pleasant aircraft, so let's push her out of the hangar and get airborne. Takeoff is conventional. She tries to swing to the right and unsticks at about 50 knots. I allow the speed to increase to 70 knots for best rate of climb. She will cruise at 130 knots at 45 litres an hour in rich mixture and above 5,000 feet in lean, 140 knots. Now, let's take her into the circuit and shoot a few approaches and landings and see how she goes. Having slowed down to flap extension speed, I trim back for 70 knots and apply full flap and approach with a trickle of power, 15 to 1700 RPM. Crossing the runway threshold, I allow the speed to taper back to 60 knots, aiming to round out at that speed. In this example, I touch down just a little early, and the result is the machine ballooned back into the air. So here we are over the threshold again. The speed is below 60 knots, and we're allowing the wheels to alight gently on the ground. But again, the machine has ballooned up into the air. This is because we didn't check forward. Let's have one more go. And here's our third approach, 60 knots, holding off from the runway, and as the wheels touch the ground, we check forward with the elevators to destroy the lift and keep the machine on the ground. That's worked out much better. Let's see if we can do it again. 60 knots over the piano keys, looking rather good, touching down, checking forward, and another very nice touchdown. Okay, let's have a look at three-pointers. Three-point landings demand an entirely different opposite technique, as demonstrated here. The aircraft needs to come in slower and be held off higher. That was not a good example of a three-point landing. Let's have a look at this one. Now the speed is tapering back below 60 knots to 56 knots, and the aircraft is being held off higher, longer and slower until finally it sinks stalled onto the runway on all three wheels simultaneously. That's how it's done. Now, what did our passengers think of that?